The United States, under the leadership of President Trump, is now the largest oil and gas producer in the world. This fact is a direct representation of how the president has set the stage for unleashing American energy dominance. On this episode of PMPK, we will explore just how far the U.S. has come and how President Trump's policies have prompted this unprecedented energy explosion. I'm Bailee Byers, and you're watching episode 14 of Promises Made, Promises Kept. A number of things had to be done in order to pave the way for American energy dominance, and ultimately tap into resources previously under lock and key. Take a look at how President Trump laid the groundwork for an unparalleled energy revolution.
My administration will seek not only the American energy independence that we've been looking for so long, but American energy dominance, and we're going to be an exporter. For too long, the federal government has put up restrictions and regulations that put this energy wealth out of reach. It's just totally out of reach. I am taking historic steps to lift the restrictions on American energy, to reverse government intrusion, and to cancel job-killing regulations. We're becoming more and more energy dominant. I don't want to be energy free. We want to be energy dominant in terms of the world.
President Trump began laying that groundwork in 2017 when he ceased implementation of the Paris Climate Accord, a disastrous deal which ultimately took advantage of American taxpayers and restrained U.S. energy industries from fulfilling their full potential. The agreement, as referenced in episode 13 of PMPK, was inherently flawed and mandated hard-earned American money be sent abroad. A few months later, President Trump continued to lay the groundwork for American energy dominance when he authorized Alaska's North Slope for energy exploration. As a result, the Department of the Interior brought in over $1 billion in 2018 through the sale of 28 onshore oil and gas leases. President Trump has also reaffirmed sanctions targeting key oil producers, including Iran, Russia, and Venezuela. Doing so has provided a niche within the global oil market for the U.S. to flourish. In the case with Iran and Venezuela, sanctions have starved exports to record lows in some cases, providing a caveat within the market for American oil and gas. In regard to Russia, the U.S. seeks to alleviate European dependence upon Russian oil, which makes up around 40% of the supply. Despite approving several notable pipeline projects, President Trump has been met with significant partisan backlash regarding his commitment to energy exploration. Through his use of executive action, he's been able to streamline energy infrastructure projects across the country to ensure the U.S. continues to flourish within the energy arena.
My first order will speed up the process for approving vital infrastructure on our nation's borders, such as oil pipelines, roads, and railways. It will now take no more than 60 days. That's a vast improvement. And the president, not the bureaucracy, will have sole authority to make the final decision when we get caught up in problems.
On April 10, 2019, President Trump signed 2 executive orders, which would streamline the process for facilitating energy infrastructure projects around the country. They were signed in order to fast-track the pipeline approval process, while also allowing the EPA to limit the influence states have over the projects. Prior to signing the executive orders, states were ultimately able to inhibit construction because of concerns surrounding pollution. But this executive order rewrote that precedent, ultimately allowing the executive branch final say on energy projects. Environmental reviews can now take no longer than 60 days, which helps to facilitate the building of various projects. Meanwhile, President Trump also moved to replace the Obama-era Clean Power Plan in 2019 with the Affordable Clean Energy Rule in an effort to delegate more power to the states surrounding their emission guidelines. The new rule allows states more freedom in regulating CO2 emissions derived from coal-powered plants, a move the White House says is critical for job growth. Despite partisan backlash, the Trump administration has made it clear this implementation is a critical step in ending what it dubs the war on coal. The United States, under the guidance of President Trump, has become the world's leading oil and gas producer and is even on track to surpass Russian oil exports by 2024. Now, let's take a look at how much progress the U.S. has made with regard to oil production. The United States has become the largest crude oil producer on the planet, shattering a nearly 50-year production record in 2018. According to BP's annual report, American oil production spiked nearly 17%, further solidifying the United States as the largest oil producer in the world. On any given day in 2018, the U.S. produced nearly 11 million barrels of oil, another indicator the shale revolution has continued to fuel the energy explosion. Meanwhile, exports of crude oil also hit a record high, coming in at an average of 2 million barrels per day. Despite the fact the U.S. has less than 4% of the world's oil reserves, it produces 16% of the planet's supply. Experts claim this unparalleled growth is likely to pave the way for the U.S. to become a net exporter of oil by 2020. According to the International Energy Agency, the energy explosion is unlikely to subside anytime soon, as the U.S. is predicted to account for 70% of the global production for at least the next 5 years.
This extraordinary turnaround is possible because under my administration, we have ended the war on American energy and we have ended the economic assault on our wonderful energy workers, and you are under assault.
The natural gas industry has endured equally significant strides under President Trump, as the U.S. has earned the title net exporter for the first time in over 6 decades. Natural gas production spiked 11.5% in 2018, marking the second year in a row production set a new record. LNG exports in 2018 alone spiked 65% and ultimately accounted for nearly 7% of LNG exports across the globe. Ultimately, American oil and gas growth surpassed any other nation in the world, according to BP's yearly report. President Trump also paved the way for U.S. producers to enter the global market by negotiating with the European Union. Following a trip to the White House in 2018, the European Commission president agreed to import more American-made LNG, prompting a 272% increase since that meeting. Since the agreement was reached, LNG exported from the United States now accounts for over 13% of the European market, which is an 11% spike in less than a year. European imports of U.S. LNG reached a record high in March of 2019, further solidifying American access to the predominantly Russian-controlled market. By 2023, Europe seeks to spike U.S. LNG imports by over 200%.
Remember President Obama, you need magic to bring back manufacturing jobs. You need a magic wand, remember? Not gonna happen. Well, so far we brought back 600,000 manufacturing jobs.
In releasing American energy potential from Lock and Key, President Trump has prompted an unprecedented manufacturing boom across the United States. Under this administration, there are an additional 523,000 manufacturing jobs, putting hardworking Americans back to work all over the country. In 2018 alone, over 260,000 manufacturing jobs were added to the workforce, which was the most added in over 2 decades. According to the White House, wages for American blue-collar workers have also skyrocketed, as those workers now receive around $3,000 more every year. More Americans are back to work than ever before, and American energy industries are exploding, all without the help of a magic wand. Thanks for watching. Right Side Broadcasting runs on your donations and your support. If you're interested in donating, you can do that through the YouTube Super Chat at the bottom of your screen, PayPal, Patreon, or rsbnetwork.com/donate. To learn more about Promises Made and Promises Kept, check out www.promiseskept.com.